Okay, Shannon, you can put us on.
Okay.
Okay, we're able to get things working. We're live streaming now and on the record in the matter of Seagraves versus Globig. Counsel, state your appearances, please.
Susan Danke, Your Honor, on behalf of, gosh, I can't remember if I'm plaintiff or defendant here.
Plaintiff.
Plaintiff, thank you.
And thank you, Your Honor. Eric White here on behalf of the defendant, Mr. Globig.
And Mr. Globig logged in late, but he's coming into view now. We'll wait for his audio connection to be complete. And Ms. Seagraves is present. And I'm assuming a witness.
I'm Darlene Morgan. I'm the bookkeeper at Wisner Electric. You asked me to come.
Yes,
Okay, we're still waiting for Mr. Globig's audio connection to connect. Okay, Mr. Globig, you can hear us now? All right. So I don't even, this is a plaintiff mother's motion.
yes, she filed that improper requesting a change in parenting time because of the father's work schedule.
That's correct, Your Honor. We had agreed at the motion hearing that we would also review child support as well.
All right, anything preliminary, counsel?
Your Honor, we have some challenges. I know I saw Mr. White had sent some proposed exhibits to your bailiff, and I have done the same. I may be able to just share on my screen, but I'm not 100% positive with that.
Get some exhibits for you. So Peter's checking now to make sure he got those.
The calendar that we received from Ms. Morgan is sideways on my screen, and I can't figure out a way to get it upright, so I'm not sure it would be helpful to the court to look at it that way. But my secretary is working on that. Yep, that one exactly.
Peter's telling me he doesn't see any emails.
You want me just to send that directly to you, Judge?
Let's try that.
I sent mine at 7:47 a.m. It wasn't returned. It went to Miss Danke and to Peter.
And I did get it. That's fine.
This morning?
Yes.
No, and I didn't get it.
Let's, do you know how to check the,
Yeah, I do.
App
I didn't have
River?
anything in there.
Nothing in there
I got the
either?
notification this morning.
Well, that would have been from yesterday. You have
Oh,
to
that's
actually
what-
check,
Yeah,
you have to sign in
let me check.
and
that
it'll
right
tell
now.
you. It might have, because of the attachments, it could have gotten captured by our aggressive spam filter. That would be my guess.
Nicole, I sent you a copy as well.
Ms. Danke, do you have it in a digital version that you could share the screen?
I do, Judge. The problem is that it's sideways. My secretary's trying to figure out a way to get it to shift. So I can share the screen. It's just that it's going to be sideways. So I don't know that it would be helpful to you.
Peter's not seeing anything from either of you. Why don't you
And-
try sending it directly to me?
I did.
Okay, let me check.
I can share the spreadsheet, which might be easier.
You know what? I got questions about whether our internet is. I'm not showing any emails from anybody since early Sunday morning,
Oh, good.
which tells me something's not working correctly here at the county. You have the same?
Yeah.
Do you have any emails since Sunday morning?
No, I got email today from Christine.
You
I've been
did?
using email.
I just refreshed. It's telling me nothing since 8:30. I obviously have an internet connection because we're Zooming.
Yeah.
So something's haywire.
It does say that you have to run an update on your computer. I wonder.
What? Well, it shouldn't be holding up my email.
And if you let me in again on the laptop, I'll try and share my screen. And then I may do.
Just reset my chance to see if it.
All right, I've got an image on my screen.
Yeah, the other one I have is the one that my secretary is trying to fix, but I think we can. And she says she's just about got it. So we may be able to make this work. Okay. And I know Ms. Morgan's got what she needs in front of her as well.
So can we at least get some preliminary testimony out of the way
Yes.
while we're waiting for the secretary?
Absolutely. We'd call Darlene Morgan.
Ms. Morgan, would you raise your right hand, please? You do swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your full name and then spell it, please.
Darlene Pollier Morgan, Darlene, Pollier, Pollyeea, Morgan, Morgan.
And
Go
Ms.
ahead, Ms.
Morgan,
Danke.
thank you, Judge. How are you employed?
I'm the bookkeeper here at JD Wisner Electric.
So is it your responsibility to keep track of
Payroll? Yes.
payroll? Yes, which I would assume is also keeping track of time worked.
Yes, I try to do that.
And is there an employee named John Globig who works for Wisner Electric?
Yes, there is.
And is he continuing to work there this year?
Yes, he is.
I have received, which you don't see on your screen just yet, but I think you demonstrated you had it in front of you. I received some calendars with times that he had worked on Wednesdays and weekends. Is that right? Did you make sure we got those previously?
Yes, I did, ma'am.
Okay. And was your business closed due to COVID at all?
Yes, it was.
For how long?
2 weeks.
And then were you able to get back up and running?
We're still working on that, but yes, we are.
Okay. On a typical week, how many hours does Mr. Globig work?
40.
And is there overtime available to him?
When we have the jobs and need the hours.
I want to draw your attention specifically to Wednesdays.
Ma'am, can I make a statement?
Yeah.
On our policy, overtime starts at 40. So they can work 10, 12 hours one day, but if they're off on a day, they still don't get that 40.
Sure. So 40 hours a week, anything over and above that would be considered overtime.
Yes.
Okay. And do the employees also work on weekends?
When needed. And he, currently he's working our night shift. So Sunday is considered his Monday.
Okay. And so what would be his Sunday shift then typically?
It varies from when they need to come in. It could be 2 to like 6 o'clock that they come in and then work up the 8 hours or more if they need to.
Okay. So typically Sunday he would start work at 2 o'clock?
Like I said, it's not a typical, there is no set thing, but they try to come in the afternoon.
Okay.
That doesn't mean that we don't have a job that needs to start at 6 a.m. 6 p.m. Sorry, 6 p.m.
So you're sometimes having to work around, if you're in a business, their hours when they're okay with having someone in. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. I'll give you an instance. Say if they were needing to fix something that was the grills at McDonald's, they have to shut down the grills. You don't want somebody to shut it down in their biggest time of thing. So we usually use our night crew for those odd things, and then they can shut it down and fix what needs to be fixed.
Okay, that makes sense.
That make more sense of why his things can be floaty? I guess it's not a good
absolutely.
word.
All right.
Great.
So I think I successfully have the calendar that was sent to us.
That is March.
I was going to say I've started with March. Did you fill this out?
I did, yes.
Okay.
The first No, I signed every one of the pages at the top.
I saw that you had signed it. So this seems to suggest that we've got pretty steady work hours on Wednesdays, 6 a.m. to 3 p.m., 3 p.m. to 11 p.m., 2 p.m. to 10 p.m., and then the COVID shutdown. Is that right?
Yes, that's what that was.
Okay.
When
Now
he
there's-
came back, he was put on days again.
Okay. I don't see any work for Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, or Friday. Is that
You didn't ask for it.
Allow me to finish the question. I was just, because the judge doesn't know that. Was that because you were only requested to provide information about Wednesdays and weekends?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So if the court does not have it, maybe I can fax the summary. But I want to move on to April. Do we again have the Wednesday schedule?
Yes, and that is the correct one. And like I
Okay.
said, after COVID, he was working actually in the shop here
Mhm.
because we didn't have our shop guy, the person that takes care of the ordering and stuff like that. So he was taking care of that at the time.
Okay. And then as we go on, it looks like he just picked up one Sunday shift in May, and was still working on the Wednesdays. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am. And then it goes to,
Oops, June.
when is it that it changes? He starts going to nights on the 21st of June.
Okay. 2 p.m. to 10 p.m.?
That's when it was at that, but like you see on the 28th, he started at 3. You will see a little bit of a
Okay,
variance.
sure. And then it looks like only one Sunday in July, but 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. or 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. on the
Some of those
Wednesdays. Is that right?
days might have been he took it off,
Okay.
requesting it off.
And are you looking at something that would refresh your memory about that?
Yeah. I have some time off slips too that I can look at.
And you keep all those records as part of your responsibilities as the bookkeeper for Wisner
Yes,
Electric?
ma'am. July 23rd to 27th, he needed off. June 13th and 14th, he needed off for a funeral. June 15th, he requested it off. March 27th and now that one's one that he just needed specific times. And this one's the specific times.
Okay. So let's kind of press on. For August, it looks like pretty consistently the Sundays starting either at 2 or 3 o'clock. And then the Wednesdays working until 10, 11 or later. Is that right?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
And then we end on September 12th. I think that's because that's where the subpoena had ended. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And has his work schedule with respect to the Sundays and the Wednesdays been fairly consistent since that time?
Let me look at some time cards and give you that answer.
And I understand with a fluctuation of an hour or two here or there, but in general, we're looking for whether or not there's a pattern.
What I needed was way back in slid.
Oh,
Yeah, it looks like it. Here's 1010, the week ending 1010. Can you see that? 10-4.
and you don't have to show us. If you can just review those and let us know, is it typically that he's working the Wednesday night shift and working what would be his Monday, but starting on Sunday mid-afternoon?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Has Mr. Globig had a reduction in his hourly rate during this year?
No.
Has he had a
Mr.
raise?
Mr. Wisner gave us everyone a 25-cent raise just recently. It'll be on the next check.
And that's 25 cents raise an hour?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And, but you said it's not on the checks yet.
No, that started, well,
Next
it
week.
started last week, but we're 1 week out.
Thank you. I don't have any further questions, and I would move for the admission of Exhibit 1, which is this calendar that the court has before it. And if necessary, if it doesn't show up on either of the emails, I could fax it if the court needs, or just leave it on the screen so the court has access to it.
We probably should be marking it, so why don't you fax it? Our fax number is 788-4452.
Yes, sir.
Mr. White, any objection to this exhibit?
No, Your Honor.
Exhibit 1 is admitted. We'll get it marked shortly. I've admitted the exhibit, Ms. Denke.
Thank you, Judge. I don't have any further questions for this witness.
Cross, Mr. White?
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Morgan, if John's working Sundays, what are his days off when he's working this evening shift?
Friday and Saturday.
Okay. And do you have a year-to-date income for Mr. Globig from your company for 2019?
Can I go get it?
Please.
I'm sorry, I'm upstairs because my room is a Faraday cage. You'd lose me fast. Okay. End of 2019. The gross,
Yes.
37,283 and 72 cents.
Okay. Do
The
you
net-
know how much over? Oh, go ahead.
The net is $22,474.79.
Do you know
The
how
overtime
much of that? Yes.
is 199 and a half hours for $4,781.19. That's the overtime.
Let's go to 2020. Do you have a year-to-date income for Mr. Globig through his last paycheck?
Okay. I'll give you to the last quarter because that's what I brought up. Is that fine?
I have a paycheck from your company for Mr. Globig. I believe it's from the check date's 10/14 of 20.
Okay. I can
You
go
have,
get,
if you could get those records, I'd appreciate that.
okay. October 11th pay stub.
I believe so.
The year to date on that one is $23,430.18.
Okay. How much overtime is on, has Mr. Globig accrued through that October 11th date?
That's not on that. And I don't have my computer here. I was doing a pay stub. Do you want me to get that going on my computer and give you that information?
Please.
Sorry, it took me a while. The gross amount is $26,771.48.
Could
The,
you get that number again, please?
Ma'am, I need to stop you there. I'm looking at a pay stub for Mr. Globig that's dated pay period ending 10/11 with a check date of 10/14, and it says year to date 26,101.47. You just gave me 23,430.18 for the same period. I'm a little
let
confused.
me see what's going on. Printed something out. This is the last one. Oh, I have one more check on my list than you do on this.
Okay. That doesn't make sense either because your number's less than the number I have.
$26,771.48.
For the pay period ending 10/11?
No, this is for the up to current. You want me to get
That's okay. How many hours of overtime has Mr. Globig
to the
logged?
pay period of October 11th?
Yes,
Ma-
I'm looking. How many hours of overtime has Mr. Globig logged in 2020?
Oh, where is it? Final is $31.
31 hours in the last 10 months, roughly? Correct?
Is that okay? The 31 hours?
For the year to date?
I can
is that-
send this to the court if they want.
That's okay, ma'am. 31 hours is what he's done for this year for overtime. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Okay. So when Mr. Globig, he's getting a quarter an hour raise that takes him up to $17 an hour. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. $17 an hour.
Thank you. And that started last paycheck. Is that correct?
It will start, he'll get paid this paycheck with that,
Very good.
which was last week's work.
Okay. When will Mr. Globig have an opportunity to go to a different shift instead of being on that evening or night shift, as you call it?
I don't have that answer, but I'm sure if John talked to Mr. Wisner, he could ask John, Mr. Wisner to go on days if that's needed.
Well, is this a union shop, or would he be able to talk to the owner directly and kind of explain the situation?
He's able to talk to the owner personally. This is not union.
Very good. That's all I have. Thank you, Your Honor.
Any redirect, Ms. Danke?
Just a couple quick questions. The pay rate for his overtime, is that time and a half?
Yes, ma'am.
And that would go up as well?
Yes, ma'am.
With the 25-cent raise? Okay. And do you have there, and if you don't, it's fine, but do you have there how much overtime he's worked in the last 3 months?
I lost you.
Do you have how much overtime he's worked in the last 3 months?
Yeah. Year to date.
Or if you have an easier break off, if you could give us.
Last quarter, no, that's this quarter. Last quarter, you didn't break it down in quarters. Sorry, ma'am.
Okay.
I should have printed a different.
It's okay. I don't have any further questions. Thank you.
Okay, may this witness be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, ma'am. You're free to leave. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, Ms. Denke, next witness.
Your Honor, I would call Ms. Seagraves.
Ms. Seagraves, would you raise your right hand, please? You do swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
State your full name for the record.
Nicole Renee Seagraves.
Go ahead, Ms. Denke.
Thank you. Ms. Seagraves, you and Mr. Globig have one child together, is that right?
Correct.
And his name is,
Liam Mark Globig,
and his date of birth is,
6/21 of 17.
and how old is he then today?
3.
Can never trust my math on the record. He's adopted, is that right?
Correct.
You also have a daughter who is his full sister, is that right?
Correct.
And how old is she?
She's 2.
And what is her name?
Bailey Grace Seagraves.
She does not visit with Mr. Globig, is that correct?
Correct.
She was in your home at the time that the two of you separated, but Mr. Globig chose not to go forward with the adoption. You did?
Correct.
Okay. What is the current parenting time schedule for Mr. Globig?
Wednesdays, picking up at 6 p.m. and bringing Liam back at 7 p.m. And then picking up Liam every other Friday at 6 p.m. and returning him at 6 p.m. the following Sunday.
You filed a motion asking the court to change the parenting time. Is that right?
Yes.
What prompted you to file that motion?
It has been pretty consistent that John's girlfriend is picking up and dropping off Liam on Wednesdays, and not so consistently, but many times bringing him back on Sundays. And when Liam is taken, not only is he taken for visitation away from me, but from his sister, and his sister struggles when he's not here. She doesn't want to play. She just wants to sit. She always asks where he is. And so part of my wanting to do this was because the kids are separated.
You have had an opportunity to look at the work schedule that was provided by Wisner Electric, is that right?
Yes.
If Mr. Globig is working Wednesday nights from 2 or 3 until 10 o'clock, does that completely encompass his parenting time?
Yes.
On Sundays, you said he comes home, Liam comes home at 6 o'clock?
Correct.
So if Mr. Globig is working starting at 2 or 3 in the afternoon, again, several hours of that parenting time, he's not available for, is that right?
Correct.
When, on Liam's birthday, June 21st of this year, who had the birthday holiday?
John.
And did you have an opportunity to look at the calendar that was provided by Wisner Electric to determine what time he went to work on that birthday?
Yes. So he worked at 2 p.m.
And you actually got Liam home on his birthday at what time?
9 p.m.
I'm guessing that's after your daughter's bedtime?
Yes.
What is it that you're asking the court to order?
Since Mr. Golbig can't make Wednesdays, I asked the court to remove Wednesdays for visitation. And then on the weekends that John has Liam, if John has to go to work on Sundays, I ask that Liam be brought back before John goes to work.
If there is a holiday that Mr. Globig is working, are you requesting to have the right of first refusal to have Liam home to celebrate his birthday or do things like that?
Yes, please.
Has Mr. Globig contacted you in the last 6 months asking to shift his parenting time because of his work schedule so that he could have Liam at a time that he wasn't having to work?
No, he is not.
Thank you. I don't have any further questions.
Mr. White?
Thank you, Your Honor. Ma'am, John's girlfriend's a good person, right?
I don't know that much about her. From the little bit that we've said hi, I don't know. I don't know that. I know she works at Meyer. That's about all I know. So I can't answer that.
I mean, working at Meyer doesn't make her a bad person, right?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the only thing I know about her is that she works at Meyer. I don't know anything about her, so I can't definitively answer that question. I don't know. Not saying that she is. I'm not saying that she isn't. I don't know.
Do you know anything about the bond between Liam and John's girlfriend?
I have no idea.
Okay. So is it your intent to take time away from John, or do you have a plan to actually replace this so he doesn't lose out any time?
At this point, we have already changed this. During the divorce, it was Tuesdays and Thursdays from 4:30 to 5, and every other weekend, Friday at 4:30 to Sunday at 9 a.m. And Mr. Globig says those days didn't work for him, that Wednesdays were a sure thing that he could have Liam. And also he had requested that the judge increase his Sundays so he could have his son for more time, and that was granted. And now this sure day that he had stated was Wednesdays and the additional time on the weekends are not being spent with Mr. Globig.
You didn't answer my question at all. What days, so you're looking to remove time from him. Do you have a plan to replace it with an equal amount of hours?
Judge, I'm going to object. He's asking a question that assumes facts, not in evidence. She's not removing time from him if he's at work and not exercising that time.
Your objection is noted, but I will allow the question and answer.
Thank you. So ma'am, is it your intent to take time away from John, or do you have a plan to replace it so that he doesn't miss any time with Liam?
I do not have a plan to replace the time because, as previously stated, it was something
you answered my
different.
question, ma'am. That's okay. It was a yes or no question. So there's not another day that, like, if John's working Wednesdays, could he have the parenting time during the daytime? If he doesn't go to work till 3 o'clock, why couldn't he have Liam's time during the day? Liam's not in school yet.
Liam is in a daycare where they have a curriculum.
You have a 3-year-old with a curriculum?
They do.
Wow.
He goes to a Montessori daycare.
Very good. So so you wouldn't be willing to give that time earlier to Mr. Globig?
I guess it would have to be further discussed because at this point, there's been no communication that he's wanted Liam for any of the visits that he's missed.
Okay. And what's your year-to-date income, Ms. Seagraves?
I don't have that information on me, but my typical, what I get paid at is about 71,000 a year. But I don't have that information.
How much do you make an hour?
The last thing I knew was like 34 something.
You don't have any weight. You don't know how much you make an hour?
I don't memorize that. I mean, I can look it up if you want me to.
Please do. While you're
It'll be
looking that up,
just-
while you're looking
Yeah.
that up, do you have any overtime at all?
No, I do not. I'm salary.
Perfect.
What pay stub would you like? I can do
well-
one starting 10/2 or 10/16.
Well, we can do the 10/16. How often are you paid?
Every other week.
Okay. And what was your year-to-date gross for that paycheck?
$60,179.07.
If you're on salary, you wouldn't have an hourly rate generally. Do you have like a weekly salary then?
They pay me just 40 hours a week. I get paid hourly, but it's just, you get 40 hours no matter how many hours you put in.
And can you look on that pay stub and see what your hourly rate is?
And this one's weird. It doesn't have it on there. That's weird. Let me look at another one. Oops. That one doesn't have it either. Let me see if I can find it someplace else. I don't know why it's not on the checks, but it's not.
Well, what's the gross amount of your check for the 80 hours? And we could do the math.
Sorry, just one second. I gotta reopen it here. Oh, there it is. That's a net pay.
Gross pay.
Yep, sorry. This is really hard to read. Oh, there we go. It says current, the total gross is $2,865.67.
And that's for 2 weeks, right?
Yep.
Divided by. So that's about $35.82 an hour. Is that about right?
Oh, yeah, sounds good. I don't really know.
Okay. And you have daycare costs for Liam?
Yes.
And how much are the daycare costs weekly or monthly for Liam?
Every 2 weeks, it's 300. I can't remember if he's 300 or 340.
Do you have any type of proof?
Not on me. The daycare gives me a bill every 2 weeks. Liam has been in quarantine for the last 2 weeks, so I do not have this week's bill. I believe he's 300 for 2 weeks. I believe my daughter's 340.
You have no additional income other than your salary from Henry Ford Allegiance. Is that correct?
My daughter gets adoption payments that goes into an account for her.
Other than that, though, nothing, right?
No, just the child support from John and then the adoption payments. That's my daughter's money.
And you cover both of your children on health care insurance. Is that correct?
Correct.
What's the cost of the health care for your family plan?
Let me grab that off my paycheck. It is $84.96 every 2 weeks for the health and $6.06 for the dental.
That covers 3 of you?
Yes, that's the family plan.
Very good. That's all I
Well-
had, Your Honor. Thanks.
So I did some quick math. I took the 2-week gross, and let me make sure I've got that number right. It was $2,865.67.
Let me go back. Sorry, just 1 second.
I have 74,507.42.
Right, that's what I got. I just wanted to make sure I had the weekly right, or the bi-weekly.
Okay. Gotta write it up.
It looks like I must have, if Mr. White and I came up with the same number, we must have started with the same number. So my math shows an annual salary based on that 2-week pay stub of $74,507.42. Is that, you had said 71,000, I'm a little.
Yeah, when I
discrepancy.
Well, when I took my position, it was offered to me at 71, but that was now almost 2.5 years ago. So there's been obviously the COVID pay, and I think we just got a raise, or we're getting one, I think is what it is. But I didn't remember how much I actually, like with the raises and the COVID pay, what it was. I just remember that when I took my position about 2 years ago, it was offered to me at 71,000 a year.
All right, but if we want to know what you're making on an annual basis now, we would just take your 2-week gross and multiply by 26.
Right.
All right. Any redirect, Ms. Denke?
What do you mean by COVID pay?
I believe, I thought we were getting, let me double check. Nope, we don't. I apologize. I thought we were getting a COVID pay, but we're not. We got it. What I was thinking of is when COVID first happened, they gave you 2 weeks of paid time off for if you got COVID. And I forgot that was taken away and I never had to use that. That's what I was thinking of. I apologize for the confusion.
Okay. Thank you. I don't have any further questions.
Okay. Any further testimony, Ms. Denke?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. White?
Thank you. We'd call Mr. Globig.
Mr. Globig, would you raise your right hand, please? You do swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your full name. You can put your hand down.
John Michael Globig.
Go ahead, Mr. White.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Globig, how are you employed?
I work as an apprentice electrician at J.D. Wisner Electric out of Lansing, Michigan.
And I think you heard the young lady speak earlier that this is not a union shop. Is that correct?
That is correct. It is not a non-union shop.
How does one progress through the apprenticeship program when it's not through the union?
You have to still accrue your hours to get your journeyman's card. And as you accrue hours, you get raises based on how many hours you have. You also have to still go. Yeah, you still have to go to school for 4 years, and then you basically have that expense also. And it's basically learning the trade day to day and doing your schoolwork, and just a matter of time after that.
Now, I think you heard that your the bookkeeper for your employer say that you were getting a raise to $17 an hour. Is that accurate?
Yes, that is accurate.
Okay, and you heard her describe your year-to-date income. Do you have any reason to disagree with the figures that young lady used?
No, I know all those numbers.
What's your average overtime been since the say 1st of June?
It has basically been any overtime that I do end up getting offsets the actual hours that I get. So like Miss Morgan said that I got 31 hours of overtime. However, my 40-hour paycheck, that doesn't necessarily mean I got 40 hours. Some of those checks actually, based on the job that I went to, if it's an emergency call, then it's automatically billed at overtime. Even though I might only have 32 or 34 hours, I still get overtime pay on that next job, which necessarily does not bring you up to 40 hours. Like, for example, I worked a 32-hour week and got, 3 or 4 hours of overtime, which didn't actually end up being equivalent to working a straight 40-hour day.
Do you have any deductions in your pay for health insurance for your child or anything like that?
No, I do not have deductions for medical. It's covered underneath my his mother.
Okay. Now, looking at the calendars that Miss Morgan put out, it looks as though at the beginning of 2020 you were working day shift. Is that correct?
That is correct.
What was your schedule with seeing Liam on Wednesdays when you were working day shift?
When I was working day shift, it was a matter of getting off in plenty of time to get there to see him. I don't think I missed a single time of being with him when I was on days.
And when did you switch to nights?
It's like Miss Morgan said, the middle of June, I do believe it was. It happened because COVID hit and the day shift work, there was not enough work for me to also remain on days. So I had to take a day, remove myself from days and go to nights. That way I was able to maintain that 40-hour work week. Otherwise I would have, not been able to get anywhere close to 40 hours.
What did you do as far as seeing Liam if you were working in the evenings on these Wednesdays?
On Wednesdays, my girlfriend would go pick him up, and I would actually take time away from my day to video chat him. We use Facebook Messenger on video chat, and she brings him to the house that we both live in, and we video chat each other while he plays with toys, and we tell each other that we love each other, and I watch him play and we talk. And I mean, it's not the best situation, but I do get to see him.
What kind of relationship does Liam have with your girlfriend?
Liam has known my girlfriend since a week after we started dating. It was the following week after his birthday. And we now live together in the same house. So, I mean, she's been a parent figure this whole time. We spend weekends together. We spent Wednesdays together. She's pretty much been there the entire time.
Do you value those Wednesday messenger video chats that you have with Liam?
Again, like I said, they're not ideal, but yes, I do look forward to, seeing him on video chat and talking to him. And, it's, like I said, with COVID hitting, normally I'd be there. I'd be on days and be picking him up.
Is there a possibility you could go back on day shift?
There is the possibility, like Miss Morgan said, that I could talk to the owner. I don't know what the situation is or what he'll say. Just like she can't answer the question on whether I'll be able to go back to day shift or not. The issue has come up with the owner. I've talked to him a couple of times about it. Unfortunately, it's not happened yet. There's not really been a serious sit down and say, I have to go back to days. I honestly don't know what would happen if I said that. I might be fired. It really depends on how much work is even available on days.
Is there an option or an alternative time period for this midweek that where you could actually put your hands on and hug your son and sit down with him? Is there another date, a day during the week that would work?
I mean, I have Fridays and Saturdays off, and in the past, I have attempted to contact Liam's mom about getting more time. That has not happened recently after she basically told me that any time outside of the custody agreement is not going to happen.
What about the Sundays where you go to work at 2 or 3 p.m. and it sounds like Liam's supposed to go back at 6. How do you handle that 3 or 4 hour period?
Well, my girlfriend is here at the house with him, and they spend time together. And lately, we've been playing out in the sandbox and riding in the driveway. Not so much what it's cold, but it's pretty much her time to spend with him.
Is there a way to adjust your schedule to where that you don't lose out on that 3 or 4 hours on the every other Sunday?
Currently, I don't believe there's another way to do that.
Do you believe that the schedule that's in place works for Liam right now and allows you to maintain that weekly contact?
Yes, it does. I mean, I would love to have more time with him. Unfortunately, you know, like I said, she's not willing to give more time. She's made that very, very clear.
There simply isn't an alternative other than using the technology of Facebook Messenger to maintain that weekly contact.
Yes, I mean, short of taking off every Wednesday and going in and calling in and saying I'm not going to come in on Sunday nights. Unfortunately, that's not an option with the amount of child support that I have to pay. I have to work at least, 40 to even think about even paying it. I mean, currently I can't even pay the child support as it is. I'm doing my best to pay as much as I can, but unfortunately right now they actually adjusted it even higher to accommodate for my inability to pay it.
I don't understand. You have a regular job. Aren't they withholding from your paycheck?
They are withholding from my pay. However, the amount that the child support is set at is exceeding the 50%, the maximum amount that they're allowed to take. So I'm running into arrears. They've actually changed it to 60% of my check now, and I'm still going into arrears.
Thank you. That's all I'd have, Your Honor.
Cross, Ms. Danke?
Thank you, Judge. How long have you been working on this apprenticeship program?
It's been like over 4 years. I got hired, I think it was like almost 4 years ago. I don't remember the exact date, but I was working on it before I got hired into J.D. Wisner. And I came into there with like 3,600 hours total. And you have to get 8,000 before you can even start testing for become a journeyman.
You had been expected to finish the program last winter, almost a year ago, hadn't you?
No, that is incorrect. I had previously stated that I had multiple years still left. That was very clearly indicated in court when I said I was not anywhere close to where she was claiming I was at. I, in fact, still have a year of schooling left.
You heard Ms. Morgan testify that you don't receive overtime unless you've got 40 hours for the weekend. Did you hear her testify to that?
I did, actually. I can clarify that.
But you're saying you get paid at the overtime rate or time and a half, even if you don't have 40 hours in, if you're called in on an emergency?
Yes, the way that it works in the electrician world is if there is an emergency call that they call in, and because I am on nights, if it's an emergency call and they demand that it be fixed now, we bill them at an overtime rate, which I would get paid overtime at that point.
Okay.
And then work that job, and that while I'm on that job, I get overtime. So, I mean, if I only have 20 hours or 25 hours, I'd still make, say, 2-3 hours of overtime. So then my check would reflect like 32.5 hours with 4 hours overtime. And
So
that's,
your $17 an hour rate is actually a little low because you pick up more overtime even if you haven't hit 40 hours. Is that right? You get time and a half for the overtime?
yes, I do get time and a
Okay.
half, but as I had stated, some of the checks, I did not even have 40 hours for the total of the week.
Now, originally, when we first set up this schedule, you picked Liam up at 4:30 on Fridays. Do you remember that?
Yes, and if you'd
And
like to,
And
Tech-
returned him early at 9 on Sundays. Is that right?
correct.
And now you're doing 6 PM.
Yes, I was
Could
awarded
you-
that after I
could-
had stated that that was not enough time.
Could you
All
go-
right, hold on. I don't want two people talking at the same time. Mr. Globig, let her get her whole question out.
Yes, Your
And
Honor.
then answer the question, and then just answer the question. Don't go beyond it.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is there any reason you couldn't go back to picking Liam up at 4 or 4:30 on Fridays?
I would love to get him on early on Fridays.
Have you requested that?
As I had stated before, she is not willing to do that. Any time outside of the prescribed court-ordered time, she is not willing to do. And I can show you text messages where I've attempted to do that in the past, and I have given up on that fact as she is unwilling to do that.
Can you tell me the last time you said, hey, I've got to be at work at 3:00, so can I pick him up at 4:00 on Friday and bring him home before work on Sunday?
As I had stated before, I cannot remember the last time, as she has clearly indicated she is not willing to go outside of the prescribed time.
Is there a reason that you didn't send Liam home early on his birthday when you had to be at work at 2?
Because that is my allotted amount of time. We actually had a party here going where he was actually hanging out with friends and family here. So we actually had a party going all the way up until just before he went.
And on Wednesdays, is there a reason that you couldn't pick him up earlier on Wednesdays?
I would love to. I right now I don't work during the day. Like I said, I'm on nights, and I would more than gladly come and get him. But as she has previously stated in this court hearing, he has a curriculum. He goes to a daycare, which I just recently found out he's not even going to the daycare that she originally put him in. She's actually changed the daycare without my permission and put him in a daycare that was not even notified of.
You said that he has a close bond with your girlfriend. Is that right?
Yes, he actually calls my girlfriend.
It's a
Mommy
simple
Cole.
yes or no. Is that a
Yes.
yes? Okay.
Yeah.
Would you agree that he also has a strong bond with his sister?
Yes. I would say from my limited experience.
Well, she lived with you since birth, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, that is incorrect. She lived with me until Liam's mom removed her from the house.
And right until the divorce case, but she came to your home right as an infant.
Yes.
Okay. And you guys were just divorced in January of this year, right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I don't have any further questions.
I'm confused about the current parenting time schedule. What is it, Mr. Globig?
The current parenting time, as you had ordered, is Wednesday 6 to 7 until he turns 4 years old. At which time it'll go from 6 till 8, and every other weekend, starting on Friday at 6 p.m. till Sunday at 6 p.m.
May I, Your Honor?
Yes, go ahead.
What schedule were you on at work when the judge gave you that parenting time schedule?
Oh, I'm sorry, Your Honor. I was on days when I was given that schedule.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Based on your current schedule, you could actually get Liam mid-afternoon on Fridays and return him mid-afternoons on Sundays on your alternate weekends?
Yes, assuming I don't go back to days.
When you're on days, the 6 p.m. to 6 p.m. schedule works best for you.
That is correct.
When you're on nights, as you are currently, the an earlier pickup and drop-off time would better suit your schedule.
Absolutely. I could get him at as early as 6 a.m.
When you're on days, the Wednesday evening schedule works best for you.
Yes, sir.
But when you're working nights, an earlier schedule would suit you better.
Yes, sir, it would.
Currently, you're reporting for work on Wednesdays anywhere between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m.
Yes, Your Honor.
And that all depends on what kind of jobs your employer has for you.
That is correct.
Counsel, any follow-up questioning based on mine?
I do, Your Honor. What time do you leave the house to go to work?
I leave roughly an hour before I have to be there. So if I have to be there at 2, then I leave at 1 due to the travel time and the amount of time it takes to, clean up the truck and unload my tools. And
Thank you. Nothing further.
Any further follow-up, Mr. White?
No, thank you.
Okay, any rebuttal test? I'm sorry, Mr. White, any other witnesses?
No, thank you.
Any rebuttal testimony, Ms. Danke?
Just one quick question for my client, Your Honor.
Okay, ma'am, you understand that you're still under oath?
Yes, I do.
Go ahead,
You
Ms.
heard-
Danke.
You heard Mr. Globig say that on Wednesdays, he makes time to FaceTime with Liam.
Yes.
Do you have that capability available to you?
Yes.
Would you be able to make Liam available to FaceTime with his father on Wednesdays?
Yes.
Thank you. I don't have any further questions.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay,
Thank you.
I guess we're ready for arguments then, Ms. Danke?
Judge, the parenting time on Wednesdays is only an hour. It doesn't make sense to disrupt Liam's schedule with the Montessori school for that hour if Dad's been doing FaceTime with him and my client can make that available to him. That way he doesn't have to get exchanged back and forth. He can just be on a regular schedule of having FaceTime with his dad on Wednesdays. With respect to the weekend parenting time, it makes sense for him to pick him up earlier. He can be available as early as 4 p.m. on Fridays and then returned when dad goes back to work on Sundays. But there's no reason for, again, for him. I respect that he's living with this lady, but in the grand scheme of things, when you're comparing someone that you've been living with for less than a year to, a full sibling that you're being separated from and your mother, it doesn't make sense to have him sitting at a girlfriend's house instead of being back home with his sister, back into his regular routine. So we would ask that his parenting time on Sundays end when he has to go to work. Obviously, the girlfriend can still drive Liam back on Sundays, which has been their routine, but there's no reason to extend that several hours. This is not a situation where my client's trying to get an advantage in child support. Child support's not impacted by that. It's simply a matter of, if Liam's not spending time with his dad, he should be with his sister. Same thing with holidays. We're requesting the right of first refusal. If he's going to be at work, Liam should be with his family. With respect to the child support issue, Your Honor, it looks like from what the conciliator ran the numbers at, which is what was adopted in the judgment of divorce less than a year ago, my client's income has gone up maybe $200 a month. I think in the past, Mr. Globig's has gone down, but the court can't do retroactive modification of child support anyway. And going forward, he's actually getting a raise. So I don't think it's appropriate for the court to refer this to front of the court for a child support review. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. White?
Well, Your Honor, there's a dramatic difference. My calculation running the child support formula shows between $200 and $400 a month difference. There definitely needs to be an adjustment of the child support. It's absolutely incorrect, and my client's entitled to have it follow the Michigan Child Support Formula Manual. Actually, the friend of the court calculated used dramatically different incomes. We have all the incomes, and you notice that I got all the information from Ms. Globig as far as the cost of health care, cost of the child care. We have her income. We have my client's actual income. This is a calculation that can be made rather easily by counsel. In regards to the parenting time, I find it really fascinating that Ms. Seagraves seems to find that the Montessori time is more important than time with his dad. I realize that we all have to have child care, but to put a 3-year-old in some type of structured curriculum seems to be pushing the limits. We don't put kids in daycare when they can be with a parent. Actually, Mr. Globig could have Liam every day before he goes to work. He'd probably welcome that opportunity. It looks as though she simply doesn't want to have Mr. Globig have any time. I think, Your Honor, what you have to do is there has to be some type of language that would trigger a change of parenting time if Mr. Globig goes back on days. But right now, he's on night shift. We would ask that you either leave things the same on the Wednesdays, or perhaps my client could have some time earlier. I realize that it impacts the curriculum of a 3-year-old, but 3-year-olds having curriculums is a fascinating concept, having 4 children of my own. I agree with the court that Fridays should start differently, but again, something that doesn't take away time. I think you're minimizing the fact that those Wednesdays messenger calls, they're not done at the girlfriend's house, they're done at my client's home where he has that connection. And it's the best he can do, but to try to simply take time from my client doesn't seem to be in the best interest of Liam. Thank you.
All right, anything further, Ms. Danke?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. The adjustment of parenting time when parents' schedules change is something that I would normally expect parents to do without any prodding from the court. Parenting time is the right of the child. And right now, this child is being deprived of parenting time with his father by his testimony because mom's not willing to change the schedule. I'm ordering a change in schedule. As long as dad's working nights, his weekends will begin at 1 p.m. on Fridays and will end at 1 p.m. on Sundays. His parenting time on Wednesdays will begin at noon and end at 1 p.m. If he goes back to day shift, the schedule will revert to what it currently is in the order. With respect to child support, I am, and let me, before I depart from the parenting time adjustment, understand that the child is in a Montessori program. I find it interesting that mom thinks he's being deprived of time with his sister, and yet she sees fit to put him in daycare. I realize that probably conflicts with her schedule, but frankly, parenting time is not the right of the sibling. It's the right of the child. And the parenting time should be enough to foster a strong relationship with the non-custodial parent. Child support, frankly, I don't have the calculations upon which the support was derived. But I'm going to order that child support be recalculated based on dad receiving give me just a moment to do the math. Well, actually, I think I can let you guys do the math. We will annualize dad's income based upon what he's received as of the most recent pay. It looks like it's a gross of 26. Well, even that number's inconsistent. Dad's paycheck shows 26,101.37, but the payroll administrator says it was 26,771.48. So rather than worry about the current pay stub, we did have agreement as to October 11th pay stub. And it looks like that was
$26,101.47. I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Was it 47 or 37? I wrote down 37.
47.
26,101.47. We'll just take the number of weeks there and annualize that number. Moms, we don't have to worry about, well, we do have an annual number, and that is 74,507.42. We have the healthcare costs of $84.96 plus $6.06. We don't need to send this to the front of the court. We can just do a new calculation based upon those numbers.
And including the daycare, right?
Right, including the cost of daycare. I'm not excluding anything that is properly included. I'm just wanting to make sure we've got the actual salary amounts in. Number of overnights won't change. Mr. White, you'll prepare these orders?
I will, Your Honor.
Judge, I have a question.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Mr. Globig's annual amount as of October reflects 2 weeks of not working because of COVID. Going forward, that's not anticipated. Plus, there's the 25-cent raise that he's receiving starting with the next paycheck, which obviously isn't reflected on what he's earned thus far. Shouldn't we be running the numbers based on what he's expected to be making going forward?
Mr. White?
We can gladly include the, the 25 cents an hour. I'm going to guess it'll change his child support by $2 a month maybe, but I'm more than happy to include the quarter raise.
And yeah, yes, you can also make an adjustment for the 2 weeks that he didn't work due to COVID. Mr. Globig, you
Your
didn't
Honor,
receive any pay for those 2 weeks?
I actually did get paid both of those weeks as part of that total. I basically got a 2-week check to not work. So that actually is included in that amount.
All right, I won't make an adjustment for the COVID. I will make the 25 cent per hour raise adjustment.
Thank you.
And finally, again, I expect these sorts of adjustments to be made. You guys are going to be co-parenting for a long, long time. This level of animosity really needs to end for Liam's benefit. I hope you can figure out a way to do that. Thank you.